Hi everyone, welcome back to Live Darts. It's the morning after the night before and we're joined by Glen Durrant. Glen, have you had a chance to take in what happened last night?
Yeah, I've spent a couple of hours on looking at my messages and on social media as well, so the reaction's been incredible. But I think now I'm at the stage now, I'm already thinking now of James Wade, so I think the euphoria is gone now and it's back to business, and just excited for tomorrow night now.
It's been held as one of the games that famous stage has ever seen. That must fill you with deep joy that you're going to play a part in match play history regardless of what happens from here.
I knew something special was happening, but once again, there's a big screen to your left-hand side, and I could see I was averaging about 103, and I didn't realise I was playing that well. I was suffering a lot with the heat, but I've watched it back on YouTube now, and it doesn't look like I was as hot as I thought I was. I went for a walk on the morning and got a bit of sunburnt and was wilting at times. So I was fighting, sort of playing Michael, and also, I was feeling uncomfortable on the stage. So, to see I was still playing really well, and when he hit a 1-3-4 finish, I thought this is turning into a real classic now, and I just didn't want to go home. I was ready to try and win that match, and Michael's not playing at his best, so you've got to capitalise on that opportunity.
When you're leading after the first two sessions, what goes through your head when you go off stage? Because not many people lead Michael van Gerwen after two sessions on a TV game.
Well, I'm very inexperienced still, so what do you do when you go backstage? Do you talk to him? Do you turn your back to him? Because the room's tiny that you walk back into. But we didn't really cross paths. He maybe went to the loo or something, or I did the second time. But there's a really cold blower, and I sort of made sure I stood under there and just, thought about it. The plan was to stay with him. In fact, the whole strategy was to try and get him to about 8 each, but not after leading 8-5. So it was a great game. It's going to go down as one of my best games ever. And but I don't want to be that player who beats the best and then the next match loses against somebody. So I couldn't have got a harder draw with Lewis, Van Gerwen, and now James Wade. But it's the World Matchplay. What you'd expect.
I'm not sure if you've seen it, but when he takes out that 1-3-4, the Sky camera pans to you and your look on your face will go down in absolute history. Did you think, I've blown it at that moment?
I thought Martin Adams, remember the semi-final at Lakeside, and that's where I was trying to gauge all my energy and all my experience from, because there's some photos where I've got my head in my hands against Adams that day. So you just think you're a couple of years older and wiser, and you use them experiences to get over the line, and that's what I was thinking then.
I know we spoke about it last night as well, but the 1-12, when you are at the point of no return because he sat on a double, and if you miss, you are going home. What's that feeling like, knowing that it's a must-hit?
I remember at the 112 finish against A.D. Lewis, or 106 finish, something. I remember the double 16. I genuinely don't remember that 112 finish, and that was the question that the reporters were asking me last night. So I'm assuming I hit the double 16, and it was a standard way of going. But that just shows you the kind of zone I was in, round about 8-9 each. I can't even begin to tell you how much I thought I'd bottled it when I was leading 10-9, 11-10. To see that, the first dart going in big 5, big 20, little 19, I was thinking, I can't blow this opportunity. Michael has 86. How many times has he hit that in 2 darts? He's not at his 100% best at the moment. That's understandable, but it doesn't take away anything that he achieved last night.
I know you said you were embarrassed to be favourite when you played 80. You're now the joint second favourite to win the whole tournament. Is this now approaching the same pressure that it was when you were favourite to win Lakeside? I
was always, being a favourite in Lakeside. It's not new to me that I've had a lot of pressure on me, and it was nice last night to play Michael and be I'm assuming I was a 3-1, 4-1 shot last night. So now I've beat Michael, it's obvious that I'm going to go right up in the betting again. Be interesting to see what the odds are against James Wade. I'm assuming he's going to be a favourite, but I'm not a gambling man, but I've had that pressure. When I was even money to win Lakeside, that was like, that's embarrassing, because it should have been 7-1 the field. So the bookies aren't often wrong, so I'll have to stop moaning about the prices they're giving me. You said that Phil messaged you yesterday before the game. Has he messaged you afterwards? 2:20 this morning. So, you know, they're the kind of things that are going to lift me. And I've made it no secret that he's a big hero of mine. So hopefully I see him. I think he's in Blackpool today, tomorrow or something. So it was a big inspiration to get that message from. And I genuinely, feel like he wants me to do well.
When you left the venue last night, was it hard to come down? Because you must have been somewhere up in the clouds, and we all know what that adrenaline, that emotion's like. What was it like in the hours afterwards?
Balance is the word there. I made sure I went and met my family and friends, because I think what people don't see, you get an hour of interviews afterwards. I just wanted to go and see my wife at that point. You don't get a chance to see her for an hour after that. So a message reached me to say she wants me to go to this place where my friends and family and sponsors were. I shied off on the drink, etc. But I made sure I shook everybody's hands, thanked them for coming, and didn't go running to bed. Or I'd done all my obligations with the media, done all my work with family and friends. But I was glad to hit the bed. That was for sure.
You had unbelievable support in the Windsor Gardens last night, and it is quite a tiny venue compared to some of them. Could you hear every one of them?
God, for me, that was the pinnacle, really. The way the crowd changed. I mean, when I went in there was a few supporters, and by the end, that was arguably the best moment I've ever had in darts. Not the winning double, not lifting Lakeside, and there was a moment at the end there where I just stood, and it's such an iconic building, and all of them are shouting. There's only one Glen Durrant. It was that will live long in the memory.
We spoke back in January, and obviously you had told everyone that you were going to leave your job to become a full-time professional. Has last night vindicated your decision to do that, and was that the nights that you dreamt of?
My answer to that is I was on a radio station at 8:15 this morning, my local radio, BBC Tees, and they put you on hold just before your interview, and they were doing the traffic updates, and I listened to that every morning at work, stuck in traffic, stressed out because I want to go to work, got to get to work, and it seems like a long time ago that I was doing all that, and housing seems a long time ago now, and I'm a fully fledged darts professional now and loving every second.
Does that sometimes make you think, if I'd have jumped earlier?
No, I have no regrets. No regrets. The only thing I'd say to you is I wish I was 20 years younger. I had I was talking to Barry Hearn last night, and the sport's in a fantastic place, and if you're in your 20s now, there's an amazing future for a great dart player now. So that's why I'm maximising everything I can. I'm 50 next year, so I know exactly the plan I've got. I don't want to be playing darts after 55 for sure. So I'm grabbing every opportunity, and you can't buy experience. So when you're playing these young lads, or when you're playing a Michael van Gerwen, I've got everything in the locker now. I've been beaten in games I should have won. I've lifted titles. So you just put all that in the memory bank.
Results and performances like last night. I know you said you're not thinking about it, but people will now start asking the question about Premier League, World Series, because you haven't just beaten the world champion, you've outplayed him on the second biggest event of them all. Well,
Barry Hearn said one or two things last night. You've done nothing yet, Glenn. You've beat Michael, great, well done, but I think he's pretty much saying, if you want to come to the World Series, if you want Premier League. What he did say was it's not often he sees a player who can turn a crowd like I did last night. I think at one point, I had the crowd in my hands, and whatever I did, I think I patted my heart or something like that, which they liked. I think they saw somebody who's done the rounds as a player, local league, county Super League, and he's living the dream up there. And I think Barry Hearn saw that last night, and but there's it's a long way off Premier League and World Series. Like he said, I've done nothing yet.
The Rob Cross story was tremendous. Arguably, if you can go on and lift this World Matchplay trophy, that's arguably a bigger story than Rob's.
My story is, I think so many players can relate to it. Every person who's got a lot of talent that can't afford to go and do the circuit, then people who are averaging 30 to 35 a county, there's 100 Glen Durrants out there, but it takes a lot to be working full time, getting home at 6 o'clock on a Monday morning for an 8 o'clock meeting at work. There's been a lot of sacrifices since 2011, something like that. So it doesn't come easy. Now it's a lot easier. Now I'm not working and have all that. So my story is that it's just a guy who did the system. And is now living his dream playing as a professional dart player, where Rob Cross came on the scene with 18 months as world champion, so it's polar opposites really, but it's just a great time to be me right now.
In the build up to your first Lakeside title, we spoke, and I went back this morning and actually watched it, and you said you dreamt of that moment of lifting it.
Yeah.
Have you dreamt of lifting that Phil Taylor trophy yet?
And the easy answer of that is because not when you get Adrian Lewis first round and Michael second round. How could I even contemplate, overlooking them? I dare to dream right now. There's 8 of us in it. After tonight's game, there'll be 8 players there. So I think now I can dare to dream. What's James Wade next? 8-time, 9-time major champion. I've been given a brutal draw. But I don't want to be that player who goes and beats a Phil Taylor or beats a Michael van Gerwen, then gets beat next round. I think that's what's on my mind right now. And if I did lift that Phil Taylor trophy, it would mean everything.
Preparation for tomorrow today, is there going to be any darts thrown, or is it literally just a day of relaxation?
I think I'd prefer a day of relaxation, but I'm playing some of the Fleetwood Town football players around about 4 o'clock, so I'm looking forward to that. I've got a little bit with RTL in a few minutes. But no, I think my wife's going out shopping and whatever. I don't think we've brought enough clothes. I'm going to look for a laundrette. I'm a type of player who likes to be clean, iron, pressed trousers and that. And I don't want to be using smelly shirts I've wore before and putting a bit of fresh on it, So I'm going to go and look for a laundrette, see if I can get me clothes cleaned and go and buy some new underpants.
Glenn, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you the morning after the night before. You served up a Lakeside. You served up a match play classic for the darts fans, and it's an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you very much.
Always is. Thanks, mate. Thank you.